Right now at noon, the city of Joplin is being audited. We'll have the story as to why.
And it is a warm and very windy day out there today. We still have those wind advisories, red flag warnings. We'll take a look at all that in the forecast coming up.
Plus, the Supreme Court is hearing arguments about whether former President Donald Trump is ineligible for a second term in office after the January 6 riots.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on KOAM News at Noon. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. In today's top story, the Missouri State Auditor yesterday announced plans to launch an audit on the city of Joplin. Scott Fitzpatrick says it comes at the request of residents who gathered more than 2,200 signatures. The city was last audited in 2015 and received an overall performance rating of poor. The new audit will officially begin on February 20th with an entrance meeting with county officials. And the Better Business Bureau advises consumers to use caution if doing business with Hidden Treasures Auction Barn, LLC, an auctioneer located in Willard, Missouri. Consumers reported to BBB that the company failed to provide payments to consumers for auction sales, failed to contact consumers, and provided poor customer service. Hidden Treasures Auction Barn, LLC has an F rating, the lowest on BBB's scale, due to recent unanswered complaints. And residents in Chanute, Kansas yesterday had a chance to learn about the new VA clinic opening in Iola. With the new clinic comes a closure of 3 others in Chanute, Garnett, and Fort Scott. Yesterday's meeting isn't the only one available. There will be one today in Iola from 5:30 to 7:30 at the North Community Center. Then on Friday, there will be one at Fort Scott Community College, also from 5:30 to 7:30.
And we've had ourselves a warm and windy day across the area. Skywatch Storm Tracker showing what looks like one little stray shower out there, but not anything reaching the ground, as we are doing pretty good across the area, save the winds. So there's some showers, some snow associated with a low pressure system up to our north. We've still got that Arctic, or that river with the snow, rain, winter storm warnings into Arizona and into Utah and parts of southern Nevada out there. That is eventually going to make its way our direction and bring us our chances for rain and potential snow heading into next week. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline, sunny, lots of cars on the roadway, lots of shaking from all of our cameras because of the wind. This is our camera, of course, downtown Joplin on top of the Cornell complex. Yesterday started the day at 41, made it up to 68, well off of where we're supposed to be and just shy of a record high. Temperatures once again well off of where we're supposed to be as we're into the mid to upper 60s across the area right now. We're going to stay warm for at least one more day. Then we've got some rain chances, and I'm not kidding, we've got snow chances, as hard as that is to believe in the forecast. We'll look at all that here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
All right, we'll be sure to stay informed on that one, Chris. Well, there are nearly 400,000 people in the U.S. who go to the hospital for burn-related injuries. Most burn accidents usually involve a fire of some sort, but that is not always the case. Burns that happen in the kitchen usually stem from a person touching a hot object or liquid.
For the most part, we recommend, whether it's chemical or thermal, you're diluting the chemical. So cool running water, you don't want ice directly on it, but just a cool running water for 5, 10, 15, even 20 minutes will greatly decrease the depth of that burn.
And thermal burns are the most common ones that we'll encounter. Doctors say to run the burn under cool water for anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. The Newton County Sheriff's Office and Carl Junction Police Department are 2 law enforcement agencies currently being affected by a nationwide law enforcement shortage. KOAM's Anthony Saviello spoke with both agencies about why this has become an issue in our area.
Every day we rely on our law enforcement officers to keep the peace, but agencies in our area are seeing a decline in officer employment.
Since 2018, we've had 36 employees leave. 4 retired, 9 either were fired or didn't complete their training. 17 got out of law enforcement completely. Only 6 have went to other agencies. We can't compete with the private market.
Newton County Sheriff Chris Jennings is one leader feeling the strain from the lack of employees.
Right, and unless you've been married to a first responder, you're not going to understand the fear.
Heather Jensen is the wife of a police officer in Carl Junction, where police retention is also an issue. The lack of police officers there only adds on to the fear that her husband may not come home.
There's nights that I cry myself to sleep because I am afraid my husband won't come home. And I understand to the outside looking in, it's just a small little country town. But there's a lot that goes on that the public doesn't know about. They just don't, and they're not going to know because they do a good job of keeping it quiet and keeping the citizens feeling safe. But if you don't have any officers to continue to make people feel safe, what's going to happen?
Where the FBI says that a town of our size needs 15, 16 to 20 officers, and we have 11. So not only have we not been able to give raises, we haven't even been able to keep pace with what the FBI says that we should have.
Unfortunately, solutions are less than ideal.
So we're looking at maybe cutting some services in order to give raises in the short term.
One thing that each agency understands and recognizes is that this is a big problem in our area, but it's also a big problem nationwide. Reporting in Newton County, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
In a statement released by the Department of Justice Attorney General Garland, he said, quote, "We are committed to doing everything we can to support local police departments as they work to serve their communities, build public trust, and keep people safe," end quote. And that's a look at today's top stories and weather in the 4 states region. Up next on KOAM News at Noon. A desperate search for 5 Marines is over this morning. Officials confirming they died in a helicopter crash 45 miles outside San Diego. We'll have the latest details. And later, we're making buffalo chicken mac and cheese balls in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Stay tuned. Authorities have confirmed this morning that the 5 Marines whose helicopter went down during a snowstorm in Southern California have died. Michael George has the latest.
A desperate search for 5 Marines is over this morning, with officials confirming they died in a helicopter crash 45 miles outside San Diego.
We got a call from the Marine Corps saying that they lost signal for one of their aircraft in the Pine Valley area.
The Marine helicopter vanished during a training exercise amidst heavy rain and snow Tuesday night.
The last known location was from a ping that was reported to our dispatch center that's about 1 mile to 2 miles northeast of here.
On Wednesday, search and rescue crews found the helicopter in a remote mountain area in the Cleveland National Forest, about 10 hours after it last made contact. Officials say the CH-53E helicopter took off from Creech Air Force Base near Las Vegas Tuesday evening, en route to Marine Corps Air Station in Miramar in California. This isn't the first crash involving the CH-53E aircraft, which is used to carry heavy military equipment. 4 Marines were killed in California during a routine training mission in 2018. And 12 Marines died in 2016 when the same helicopters collided during a nighttime training exercise off the coast of Oahu in Hawaii.
Like all aircraft, they do have mishaps, they do have accidents.
At one point, the search had to be delayed because of dangerous weather conditions. Michael George, CBS News.
It's a high-stakes legal fight before the nation's highest court that could have sweeping implications for the 2024 presidential race. Today, the Supreme Court is hearing arguments about whether former President Donald Trump is ineligible for a second term in office because of his conduct surrounding the January 6th Capitol assault. Natalie Brand reports from the Supreme Court.
Demonstrators gathered outside the Supreme Court Thursday as the 9 justices heard arguments about whether former President Trump should be kept off the 2024 ballot.
Does President Trump have any kind of due process right here?
The question before the High Court stems from a Colorado lawsuit which argues Trump is ineligible for a second term because of his conduct surrounding January 6th, pointing to a constitutional amendment passed after the Civil War to prevent former office holders who engaged in insurrection from regaining power. The Colorado Supreme Court agreed and ordered Trump be excluded from the state's presidential primary ballot.
By engaging in insurrection against the Constitution, President Trump disqualified himself from public office.
Trump's attorneys question whether the provision applies to someone who is president and dispute he engaged in an insurrection.
Colorado Supreme Court's decision is wrong and should be reversed for numerous independent reasons.
Legal analysts describe this as uncharted territory. The Supreme Court has never before ruled on a case like this involving the insurrection clause.
The Supreme Court doesn't want to weigh in on such controversial issues that are subject of civil and criminal cases at this point.
If Trump loses, it could be a death blow to his presidential campaign. Similar challenges have been filed in at least 35 states. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
The former president is not attending today's arguments. Political watchers are hoping for a speedy ruling as the Super Tuesday presidential primary contests are less than a month away. Up next, we see what's cooking with Mr. Food.
The big game is right around the corner, and that means we need to be armed with all sorts of munchies. Well, today, we've got one that combines two of our favorites.
But first, we are continuing with these windy conditions and some rain chances, and yeah, you heard me right earlier, snow chances as well. We'll look at all that in the full forecast right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM News at Noon. So it is warm and it is windy, and I could stop the forecast there because there's some information I need to share with you that you probably don't want to hear. Unfortunately, I was told that it is my job to tell you these things, and sometimes it's good news, sometimes it's bad news. Let's take a look outside at some of the good news, at least. This is the MoDOT camera, 32nd and range line in Joplin, and as you can see, we have a few clouds out there. Otherwise, sunny skies. It is warm, it is windy, and these fine folks are heading to lunch, heading to shop, or just driving around aimlessly. Sometimes I do that. Take a look at our camera, though, on top of the Cornell complex, downtown Joplin. Look at how much it is shaking out there. Look at the flags on top of City Hall, too, whipping in the wind out there. And we want to remind you some things that we have. First off, red flag warnings, Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties, and then into southwest Missouri until 9. In this area, absolutely no outdoor burning. The fire danger level in this zone alone is from very high to extreme. On top of that, we still have wind advisories for this part of southeastern Kansas until 5 o'clock. And then again, from Bourbon, Crawford, Cherokee counties and points east, it runs until 6 this evening. And that is for those wind gusts pushing upwards of 45 miles an hour. In Joplin right now, that's what we're talking about. Right there. It's 67. The humidity's at 42%, but will continue to drop. Southwest breeze at 26, gusting to 44 miles an hour. That's how intense these winds are. You've got to take them seriously when it comes to burning. And the thing is you may not be under an advisory or a red flag warning, but in all honesty, winds around the region are gusting very high. So we do not encourage any outdoor burning whatsoever. And of course, if you're driving a high profile vehicle, make sure you got both hands on the wheel because it is very, very windy. And take a look at these temperatures. We are in the mid to upper 60s across the area when we should be in about the mid 40s at this time of day. Nowhere near that, 20 degrees off. Not that we're complaining about the warm weather, but we're way above average. Winds will continue to gust as we head through the afternoon and evening. As we go into the overnight and early tomorrow morning, we'll actually see a momentary reprieve from the gusty winds before they turn right back around out of the south and southwest and start gusting upwards on average of about 30 miles an hour as we head into our Friday. Our Friday is also when we're going to see an opportunity for some rain showers. So overnight, not too bad, but as we head toward tomorrow morning, clouds will begin to increase around the area. And with those increasing clouds will come the opportunity by late afternoon, early evening for the possibility of some showers and maybe even a rumble of thunder or two. But of course, no severe weather with any of that. Just a couple of thunderstorms will be possible. Rest of today, we're still looking to make it right about 70 degrees almost. Sunny skies, and of course, those winds gusting to 45 miles an hour. Tonight, our lows about where our highs should be in the mid 40s. Clear skies, winds continue to gust at 30. And our Friday still warm, upper 60s, mostly cloudy. We got the rain, we got the breeze gusting to 30. And I want to touch on this very quickly. We are watching the possibility of rain turning into snow as we head into Sunday. So here we are, Sunday evening, we have the rain. And as we head toward early Monday, we see that transition to snow across the area. So it's something we're going to watch. If we see any, it's not expected to really stick to the roadways, but could stick to grassy surfaces and could still lead to a few slick spots. And regardless of what we see, we do fall back in temperatures this weekend, but next week, whatever snow we get wouldn't last long as we go back into the upper 50s with some additional rain chances by next Friday and Saturday. So we're going to watch the snow coming in on Monday very closely just to keep an eye on it, but it won't last long whatever we get.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. We'll stick around because we're making buffalo chicken mac and cheese balls in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. We'll be right back. It's time to check in with Howard. Today he's making buffalo chicken mac and cheese. Take a look.
The big game is right around the corner, and that means we need to be armed with all sorts of munchies. And rather than serving the same old things, how about making something that promises to be a hands-down winner since it combines two of our all-time favorites, buffalo wings and mac and cheese. Let me show you how easy. We start by combining a package of frozen mac and cheese that we've thawed, along with some diced cooked chicken and a bit of buffalo wing sauce. After this is chilled, using a small ice cream scoop, we scoop it onto a baking sheet, like this. Then into the freezer they go. When they're rock solid like these, we dip them in an egg mixture, then roll them in seasoned breadcrumbs and place them in hot oil until they get crispy and golden. And yes, you can make these ahead of time and simply warm them up in the oven. What we end up with is a fried ball of mac and cheese studded with a taste of buffalo wings. Maybe serve it up with blue cheese dressing for dunking and celery sticks for crunching. To get the recipe for our buffalo chicken mac and cheese balls, all you have to do is visit our website. And it's amazing how good these are. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a 2-in-1 winning way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
And you can find this recipe on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now here's a look at the 4-state market prices.
Warm and windy today, wind gusts to 45, gusts to 30 tomorrow. Showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, still warm. Cooler this weekend, and watching that possibility of some snow as we head into Monday. But again, worry not, whatever we get doesn't last long as temperatures turn around, warm right back up next Tuesday and Wednesday.
All right. And Dow, what do you have for us tonight?
A lot coming up at 5. Do you know there's going to be a Super Bowl? We're going to take a look at the A-list entertainers who are going to sing the national anthem and perform at halftime. Plus, Fort Scott Community College budget deficit the school is facing, and McDonald County High School students are working on a play written and produced by a fellow student. Hope you join us for those stories, a lot more, of course. It's all coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at Noon. Now we're going to close it out with some 6th graders from St. Andrew.